Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Mochen Le'Ra Online Smicha. In honor of Rosh Chodesh, I want to share with you a thought that's connected to a shot I saw in the Beis HaLevi on the tefillah that we add on Rosh Chodesh, the Ya'aleh V'Yoveh. So he comments that we see that the Ya'aleh V'Yoveh speaks in a singular lashon, more individualized, and then plural to the klal. For example, we say Ya'aleh V'Yoveh Zichronenu, our, even though it's plural, but it's talking about us, individual. Zichron Avesenu, Zichron Mashiach. And then we say Zichron Kol Amcha Beis Yisrael Ufanecha. So the Beis HaLevi is medayik that there are two parts of every Jew. There is the part of every Jew of how he is an individual person, and then there is the part of every Yid as part of the klal, Amcha Beis Yisrael. And we all know the famous Yiddish saying that just like you have to be worried about Beis Yisrael, you also have to worry about the Rebbe Yisrael, the individual. And the question is asked with all the emphasis and all the importance that we put into the concept of Achdus, as everybody being united and everybody being as one. Is it one system fits all? Is the concept of being considered one something that's good in all parts of life? Now, I remember that when we were growing up in yeshiva, every question you would ask the mashpia on a Maimer Chasidus or something, or the common answer would be, these two thoughts don't seem to be the same thing. So his answer would be, it depends on what level, depends what situation, which rule applies. So I think the same thing you could say about the concept of being together, counting everybody as a bunch, or individualizing people. At some time, each one has a power. We all know that the famous mashal that we give about people when they stand together, they're unbreakable. So the mashal which is brought, that if a person wants to bring whatever pieces of bamboo sticks from place to place, and he wants to make sure they don't break, you put a bundle of bamboo sticks and ask somebody to break it, it won't work, because the power of the sticks sticking together, the force will not break it. But if you give him stick by stick, bamboo stick by one, anybody with a little mite could chop it and finish. So that is usually a mashal which is brought that when we stick together, we're unbreakable. And a lot of good things happen when the Yidden are ba'achdus. However, I will bring you two examples of things that we do in our life. It's actually better to individualize. The Rambam in Hilchos Schirus, and I thought about this because of learning the daily Rambam a couple of days ago. The Rambam in Hilchos Schirus, Perek Gimel Halacha Tes, the Rambam says a phenomenal halacha. He says, Roya, a shepherd, Shehever HaBehemes Ela Gesher, a shepherd that was leading his animals across a bridge. Very good. But as they're going across a bridge, Dachva Achas Mehem Lechavarta, one of the animals pushed the other one, V'nafla L'Shibayla Sanar, and the one that got pushed fell into the current of the river. The din is Harei Zeh Chayev. The shepherd is responsible to pay for the loss of that animal. You know why? Shahoyaloi Lahaviram Achas Achas. Because he should have, instead of taking the bunch of animals all at once over the bridge, you got to take them individually, one by one over the bridge. And that made me think, every parent, every teacher is considered in a certain way a raya, a shepherd. He has to guide, he has to direct, he has to educate his children, his students. It doesn't work, one system fits all, one blanket way of doing things for everybody. And if you do so, one of them might get pushed aside by one student might push another student aside. One child may overshine and make the other child be ignored. And the parent or the teacher who does that, the Rambam says is liable, because you got to individualize them one by one. And that's how in education it is that way. Then there's another thought. I heard a mashal of a father asking a child to bring him a cup of water. So the child brings the cup of water. The father makes a shackle. Okay, drinks it, very nice. He asks him for another cup of water, and he says, please bring me a teaspoon of salt. He puts the teaspoon of salt in the water, and he says, now drink it. So the kid can't drink it. It's terribly salty. All right. Half a day later, they're walking near the edge of the water, and they're walking by a lakefront or somewhere where there's water. So they were thirsty, so they make a bracha, they drink. So the father turns to the kid and he says, "You have any salt?" He had a packet of salt, a teaspoon of salt. The father took the salt and spilled it into the lake. And he says to the kid, "Drink." So the kid takes a cup, scoops up some water from the lake, and drinks it. So the father says, "I don't get it. This morning or a couple of days ago, I put in a teaspoon of salt in the cup, and you couldn't drink it. I put the same amount of salt in the lake, and suddenly it's drinkable. There's no problem." And the answer is very simple. When you take all the bitter stuff and you pile it up as one in a little cup, it's unbearable. But even if you take that same amount of salt and splash it into water, but you let the water spread it apart, it's bearable. And that's a lesson in life. Yeah, we all have turbulence. We all have the Eibusha sense nisyonis. But don't bundle them all up together and be fakvetched in a cup. Spread them out, individualize them. I'll see you and give it some breathing space. And the Eibusha will give a person koyach to be able to survive it and overcome and become even greater and better.